What's up, y'all? Welcome to the trade room. It has been a hot minute since we live streamed, but we're here with a big topic, a big conversation to have. Is the end of the market near? And what can we use as signals to see when the end of the capital markets or a bear market could be? Thank you if you're here. Make sure to put a thumbs up. Give me an audio check as well, because I have my headphones in here, and I'll catch you on the other side. Big topic to talk about. Welcome to the trade room. What's up, guys? Welcome. What's up, guys? First off, big shout out to whoever's in the chat room right now. We got Dags and we got DFK Elite. What's up, dudes? Big shout out to you guys. Like I said before the intro, we have some big things to talk about, but you know, let's get a feel of what the markets feel right now, and then we'll lay out the things we have to talk about. Right, let's get a feel for what it feels like in the markets right now, at least what I mashed up together and what we've even seen in the last week. So again, we're laying the groundworks. We're telling the story. As you guys know, I document my macro, right? I document my macro outlook and everything, and I try to plan for the future. But what do we see there, right? We saw pump fun and what's going on in the cryptocurrency market with all the meme coins launching. We saw Hayden Daniel and president of Argentina, that mess that's going on over there. We're seeing President Trump eventually actually ended up becoming president, right? We're seeing the changes that he's making there. We saw a lot of things, right? Inflation is rising back up. Are we in a recession? We're here to talk about all of that and then use the charts to paint a picture for us. So let's dig right in, because we have a lot to look at, right? We're going to end up going from the overall market conversation, then into what does S&P 500 look like on the charts? How's that going to help us tell what's going on? Then it's going to go into Solana and AVAX, that layer one comparison, and then we're going to hop into Jewel, right? Because those, if you're into crypto gaming, and you want to see what's going on with that part of the niche crypto ecosystem, Jewel and the Jewel chart is one of the main ones to look at, because when it impulses, generally everything else in the market is impulsing, and it's quick and it doesn't last long, right? So It's one of the OG indicators of the gaming space. And so let's get down to the meat of the juices, and let's take a look at what the synopsis is for a macro investor, or for myself, as again, this remains my journal, right? So let's get it winning at what this is and what we're looking to accomplish today. All right. Don't get it twisted. I am bullish and this is the 2021 to 2030 macro outlook, right? So this is the plan of the end of this bull market and how that is rolling into the next one, right? We were doing charts and saying the bull market is coming, the bull market is coming, in the bear market, and it sucked, man. It sucked just sitting there every day. Price is going down, and having to keep that positive momentum up. And so we planned for that. So now the plan is the end of the market. What is that going to look like? Because a lot of times, most people are kind of, not prepared and left kind of rushing decisions, and then the market is running, and I might not have put enough, and now I'm putting more as it's already getting ready to come down, and then you're not able to catch all the ROI you could possibly be looking at. And so in a macro sense, you have to plan for that end of that market. So the end of this going into the next one, which if we will look down later here, the next Bitcoin halving is March of 2028. So that leads into a conversation of what you normally see after the halving and why 2030 is what we're looking at for the end of the next market. But let's continue forward, because I want to get to Jewel eventually. And I want to get to the crypto gaming and that breakdown of why we believe the prices are going where. But we're going to go from the fundamentals, why we even do this, S&P 500, Bitcoin, really Ethereum, but whatever, Solana, AVAX, and then to the more niche space as well. So so we're looking for signals, right? What kind of signs do we need to see, not only fundamentally, economically, but on the charts technically, to tell us that the bear market is coming, right? Looking for the signals of the market topping within these ranges of time. April 2025, that's only 2 months from now. April 2025 to January 2026. The goal is to, and that's next year, we're gonna go next year. The goal is to continue training in the art of macro investing and using TA. Why did I say technique? Come on. Do better. Spell check. What? Okay. Using TA, technical analysis, to guide the way towards maximum gain while protecting your cash. This conversation will lead to BTC, Bitcoin, S&P 500, SPY, AVAX, and Jewel analysis. So we're going to head right into what happened, right? How did we get here? How did we enter into a bull market? And when you're setting up to enter into the bull market, you come from a previous bear market. That was 2021. All right. Now we left the bear market in 2023 with the end, if you're looking at it from the crypto end, with the end of the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX debacle that happened, with the Fed starting to ease, where the interest rates that were raised, the market started to price in the Fed starting to look to cut. That started in 2023. And that led to the expected green, even though we were just leaving the bear market, the rise of AI, NVIDIA. We'll talk about that. Fed cutting rates, and then inflation falling, right? As the Fed cut rates, they were confident that inflation was going to continue to, or inflation was going to start falling because of the monetary policy that they put in of raising rates. Then we have the stock market reaching all-time highs, giving the market more confidence. Look at all this green. Then BTC happening April 2024. More green and euphoria. Then the presidential election. Is this person gonna win? Is that person gonna win? Stock market obviously likes the turnout of the election, no matter what your political side is. And really quickly, while we're on that specific note about the presidential election, as let me go ahead and switch here. Um, as the election time was going on, it says 7 months ago, and even further back, right? As we knew things were getting bullish, bulls are gearing up. As the court cases and litigations were going on, and I was chatting it up with Sticks intern about what that could look like, right? As the AI narrative continued to fester and bring bullish momentum, as I talked to as I did the Ask Me Anything, with Zealous, right? As we prepared for the bullishness to happen, that was previous months that were priced into the charts, right? And so we've been bullish. Okay, we're not bearish here. We've been bullish, and that's just the picture that I'm painting there with what happened and why the presidential election was so important and the months that led up to it. Now we've priced all that in. We have the meme coin mania, your dog with hats and Ansem promoting that and the rise of that, all this green. And then even recently we had Coinbase mention that the SEC is looking to drop the case. That's all bullishness. That's all green. And we'll talk later about why this release here, and we'll click on it. Why this release here? Coinbase says the SEC agrees to toss lawsuit, signaling end of crypto battle. Why that's significant for XRP and the Ripple case and where that's going. But not only that, for the price action for XRP, but it's also a signal that the overall sentiment behind crypto or in the markets, it's really bullish, right? And it's something to keep an eye on as you prepare for the bear market. So that's where we were. We had to have these green things play out for us to run up, and we've had that happen. Where are we now? Where we're in the bull market, right? We have a new administration. The market tends to like what they're doing. We had the Fed pausing rates. Remember that cutting rates that gave them confidence that inflation was falling. That has now gone from the green positive to just dark, as where we are right now, to just regular, right? It's no longer a positive for the market signal. Okay, remember we're looking for signals. So the Fed has paused the rates. This is also going to come in how the Fed is rising and lowering rates when we talk about alt season. This is going to come in when we talk about alt season, right? So let's keep that in mind here, right? Now, so then that's the neutral stuff for now. Then what's the negative stuff? We had the DeepSeek and AI scare. Okay, the DeepSeek and AI scare, where the market had a big volatile drop once China showed their equivalent technology to NVIDIA and the AI compute power or price or back-end technology that NVIDIA has and uses. Market overreacted to that. Of course, it's technology. Everybody's advancing or figuring out their way, but the market reacted very heavily to that, right? And that's what you see right here that I wasn't sharing, that I am sharing now. So then you have the AI narrative is not as strong as it was before. Now we'll talk about that if we get a chance to look at the NVIDIA chart, but I think the NVIDIA bubble is there, and I believe there's an AI bubble that's getting ready to pop as well. So again, there's some of the things that were green for us could be the same things that go red for us. The stock market's been running for 2 years and change now. We'll look at Grok. When we ask Grok a question about what it thinks the top of the market is going to be, and we'll see what Grok has to say about that. Again, this is where we are. Then we have trade wars, right? Trade wars, with Trump talking about, oh yeah, 25% trade tariff to this and to that. It's a tool of his, and he's going to use it. He's already threatened to use it, and he's gonna put it forth not far time from now. He put it forth immediately, and he's looking to have at least 25% reciprocal tariffs to other countries who are currently tariffing us or not looking to work with us. Reciprocal tariffs. And so those tariffs don't necessarily cause prolonged inflation, but when those get dropped and stay, the market tends to react if there is weakness in the market. And so if we're looking for signals of weakness for the charts and the prices to move, well, guess what? The trade tariffs and the trade war is a possible bullet that can go in a chamber of many bullets / signals that we would be looking for to show us an indication of a coming bear market. So that's one thing as well. Then you have the meme coin situation and the rugs and the things that are happening with that. Just like we saw here with the Sam Bankman-Fried having to have that, there having to be some sort of resolution to that. That was a part of what signaled coming out, going into the 2021 bear market, and then coming out of the 2021 bear market. Things of that nature. If the market is exhausted and the price is going to drop, it's going to drop. But you need a building narrative also on top of that to make that bear just as bad, or that 20, 30, 40% drop just as bad. And we're seeing that not only with the AI, the economic or the economic or governmental options that Trump is using. And then we have the meme coin situation with the whole Libra situation, right? And that was a part of what I put in that intro. Do we dare look at it again before we talk about it? All right, so this situation was hilarious. It was recent. Obviously, a lot of things are happening within the markets. But Bubble Maps kind of lays it out the best there. And again, we're talking fundamentals before we get to the technicals because we have to paint a picture here. And narrative is a part of it, right? Everything is priced into the charts. Fundamentals, if a bear market is going to happen or if a recession is going to happen, which is what we're gearing towards, then you already see the first signal. Again, we're talking about signals here, right? Signals, not only signals that we have now, but signals that we're looking for in the future to tell us that a bear market is near or an economic turn down is near. And narrative then becomes the thing that piles on top, as I repeat again. So yeah, this young 23, 24-year-old dude apparently goes around Hayden Daniels launching, meme coins for various parties. And he got so good at doing it that he and his team were a part of sniped the Trump sniped the Trump coin, was a part of the Melania coin, being an early insider, and was assisting Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, to make his own meme coin as well. And the internet sleuths, we're able to figure out and find out that there's a connection there between the Melania Trump and everything else that's going on. Um, with that, and people got rugged. I don't necessarily feel that bad for people that get rugged with some of these coins because of the current ecosystem that we're in. With the current ecosystem that we're in, especially in crypto, as we welcome more regulations that not only help the ecosystem foster, but then protects, things like wire fraud and insider trading and some of those things. This is the ecosystem that we are in, and we want new people coming in, but at the same time, those new people coming in who haven't learned how to harden themselves or haven't learned how to protect themselves from, the bad actors are going to get caught in things like this where they think they're buying a president's coin, but you're making probably the worst investment decision of your life by hopping onto these jumping trends of meme coins. And so, not to spend too much time on this, but again, where are we now? Right, the things that were green are kind of turning red for us, and the things, um, and so we lead that leads into then the rest of where are we now. Bitcoin post halving year. We're going to talk to Grok. Speaking of that normal, for Bitcoin, 18 months after halving or something like that, or it's 16 or 10 to 16 months after halving is where that bullishness, most of the bullishness happens. With the stock market, it's like 48 months is normally what it stays, 36 to 48 months where it has its bull markets, which is a couple years. And then right now we have not seen alt season. What I would say about where we are now with the altcoins, yeah, some altcoins have shown great strength. We'll talk about XRP and some of those sleepers that have had great moves, but it hasn't been the case where all the alts run. Some people want to blame like meme coins for taking liquidity from the altcoins, and that's why there's no all season. Yeah, that could be. Um, and that, sorry, I didn't switch screens. That could be a thing for alts. Um, but alts run when there's quantitative easing, which means less restriction on money. And the Federal Reserve, was cutting interest rates until they stopped, until they paused, right? So remember, the things that were of green, right, cutting interest rates while inflation was falling, is no longer that way in the present because the altcoins need that situation to happen in order for it to run. Now, we'll talk more about this when we get over to the charts. In order for all season to happen, the Fed needs to cut. In order for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, something kind of maybe bad needs to have happened. Because as of right now, the Fed is saying they're doing everything perfectly and everything well. But we're seeing inflation rising. And if we're leading into where I think we're headed, then alt season, as alt season always is short-lived. Alt season has been happening. Alts have been bullish since the bull market started. All right, bull market started. Um, a few years ago. Alts have been moving. The ones that have strength have been doing their thing. The ones that have real utility, real communities, real substance behind them, a real future technological projection, especially with regulations coming. Though some of those have done well. Your XRPs, okay, your even Cardanos, your XLMs, your H bars, your even Solana, right? Your Solanas have done well, along with Bitcoin. Alt season, or let's say what alt season says is there's a period in time where everything runs. There's a period in time where everything runs. You can throw $1 at a doorknob and it's going to turn into $100 for you in crypto. And that includes the meme coins and everything runs, right? And normally that happens when Bitcoin tops out. And then that liquidity now goes looking for everything else. And the things that have been strong are going to experience the strongest alt season. And the things that really had no substance to them are going to run. And then when the bear market comes, they're going to, most things in crypto go down at least 90%. They're going to go down to obliteration. And as regulations come and as utility comes, um, 80 to 70 to 85 to 90% of the tokens that are currently floating, the millions of tokens that are floating now, will probably go to zero. But alt season, do I believe alt season is going to happen? Yes. How does that happen? Let's talk about where we're headed. And where we are headed, only one green, a lot of red, and a future outlook. All right. We went from having a lot of green with what happened and where we're coming from. We're in this now phase where we're kind of like half and half, and we're going to this phase where that momentum swings. But that comes with a blow off top. Really aggressive, really short-lived, powerful movements that give an opportunity. And that takes a combination of quantitative easing, and Bitcoin is that early signal of that, right? A blow off top should happen with Bitcoin making a last powerful move. And we'll look at the charts. Bitcoin's kind of corrective phases through that move, Bitcoin topping out, and then altcoins sucking up that liquidity. And usually it helps if there's quantitative easing happening, right? And so we're going to talk about what that could look like, and why that leads immediately to bad economic times, which are followed by not always a recession, but I think for this specific one, we could be leading our way into a recession, a bear market, which is always hard to time, but we're going to speculate, right? We're here. It's kind of like my public journal of my macro journey. Remember the macro journey here. And anybody who's looking to be a macro investor or use charts to help you see the macro outcomes so you can slowly plan to, try to take advantage of, the way the market cycles are. The timing won't be perfect, but when you're a macro investor, you give yourself plenty of time to be more accurate. But where we're headed, shrinking economic growth, GDP, growth domestic product, right? Trump is coming in and he's cutting. We talked about this months ago. He had an agenda, he's coming, he's cutting. And they're trying to reduce the expenditure of the government. They're trying to just figure out a way to stop this piece of ish that's rolling down the hill in terms of the U.S. debt and the interest that we're paying on that, and the math that it can't possibly math at the current state. And then we look at low market sentiment. People are just generally more down, and they're more pessimistic than they already are. That's what happens not only in a bear market, but what happens in a recession, job losses. And so again, we are bullish. That bullishness is coming. That blow off top is coming. It's going to be very volatile because there are going to be things happening. The Fed is going to have to make drastic decisions and possibly cut. And even if it's not a drastic decision, at some point this or into next year, they're going to have to cut. And they'll do that if they see either inflation going down or if something bad happens. If something bad happens. And so that's our current outlook, right? That's the story. That's the picture that we're painting. As macro investors, we're trying to plan that sometime between April 2025, which is coming up right here, or January 2026, we are going to get signals of what the top of the market looks like. We are not Houdini. We do not know it all, but we know what the repeating of history is. We are looking at making good decisions from there. So that's the outlook there. We're going to talk about what am I doing about this? How am I preparing for this? And I'm preparing to take profit. Okay. Preparing to take profit. I'm long term in this space, long term in this ecosystem. But if I'm a macro investor and I'm playing these 4-year cycles, these 6-year cycles that then roll over into these 10, 15, 20-year, 25, 30-year cycles, that's a very long time. And if I can possibly use technical analysis to guide me along that line so that I can sell at the end or towards the end of these big swings, I can sit on cash and then I can find a way to buy back into that bear market utilizing those same macro charts. That's how, in a short span of living as a human being, we only have, now with modern science, 60 to 100 years of life. How can I take advantage of these big economic, big chart, big human psychology swings? And then how can I do it even better and make profit from shorting that downswing? I'm not just gonna sit on my butt and just wait to buy. How can I plan in a macro sense and then short that and then have on cash to buy the bear market? So you know, that is what it is. That then leads us to what that looks like on the chart, right? I could be wrong. We could never get a bear market. But then again, when we were in the bear market, people were saying we could never get a bull market, right? And you have to prepare. You have to prepare to be the contrarian and try to see things early enough to benefit from it, as those who have done in the past. So that's just the experiment. That's just the experiment. And so this is what the charts look like because of humans, because of human psychology. When you're a macro investor, this doesn't happen in 5 minutes, 1 week, 2 weeks. When you're a macro investor, this happens in years. This could look like 4 years. This could happen in a year as well, but that's not really a vast macro mindset. This also happens in mega cycles, right? Mega cycles of 10, 15 years, which I believe that Bitcoin has been in a mega cycle as well. But I believe that we are, when we're in a bear market, this is the bear market, okay? This is clearly a bear market, but it doesn't seem like it for some time. It doesn't seem like it for some time until that people are denying the fact that it's a bear market, and then you get a massive drop that goes below that previous belief. Then you get panic, capitulation, anger, depression, disbelief, and then you work your way out of here, which we did in 2021. So, okay, we talked about the fundamentals. Okay, what's happening right now, where we were, the fact that the stuff that was green for us then turned to neutral for us, and now it's kind of hurting us. We talked about where we are. I believe that we are in belief. Okay, we're in belief. Everybody believes we're in the bull market. Okay, it's not the hope anymore. It's not disbelief. It's not the hope. Okay, Bitcoin went past all-time high. We are having all-time highs. Okay, we're now in belief, and belief is the last stage before what? Euphoria. And then euphoria is the stage before what? Anxiety, denial, and panic. And so the concept and the goal is we're preparing. And so if we're in belief, we have actually the biggest move coming up beyond everything else. It just happens to be the last move. And if in a macro sense, you're able to, even if you don't perfectly time, the top, if you're then also in a macro way able to prepare for this long stretch, then my good sir, you have found the circle of life, right? And so that's the experiment we're going to continue to compound on, is looking at this, preparing for this, and the tools that we have to benefit from that preparation. And just a funny little side bits here before we dive into the charts. Okay. Just a nice little side bit here before we dive into the charts. And what up to Kong? Shout out to you in the chat. He says, "Yo, I agree, my friend." Yeah, Kong. Shout out to you. Listen, you have to prepare for this. And again, this is my public journal. It doesn't have to be my public journal for me to kind of just put this out there from bull to bear, from bull to bear. I've been in two bulls, two bears now. Two bulls, two bears, multiple cycles now, and this is just what it is. I enjoy talking about it. I'm not a person who likes to keep this information to myself. But you know, when we're speaking of the Libra scandal, this is just a comedic relief. Before we continue, and speaking of the Libra, apparently, okay, Libra's token co-creator claimed he paid Argentinian President Milei's sister. It was unclear if any money was exchanged between Davis and Milei's inner circle in advance of Libra launch. And then this guy was like texting whoever he was texting, Jaden Daniels, and he was like, he was like, whatever guy who was talking to says, "Sweet. Also, can we have a Milei tweet and meet in person and do promo?" We got the tweet, right? We got the tweet, so we know, okay, this might be a real text right here. Okay, it was verified in some ways. And he says, "I control." Oh, so this is Dave Daniels. "I control that nigga." What? This is blurred out on Argentinian TV. It wasn't blurred out, but yo, bro, like, what? This is how you're talking when you're making business deals? Like, that's sick. And he says, "I'll send the, not like cash, I'll send the cha-ching to his sister. And he signs whatever I say and does what I want." Crazy as shit, man. Dude, what is wrong with you, man? This is how you're talking through business deals? That's crazy. And you're so again, you think about what was happening during the previous bear market, Sam Bankman-Fried, market sentiments, human sentiments, and all that. It kind of looks crazy. Kind of looks crazy. So let's move on. Let's move on to this. So we're gonna look at the charts, right? But before we look at the charts, I want to let you guys know I'm bullish, man. I'm not like trying to be a bear out here, man. So this was when? This was February 17th. Again, I have not been streaming too much. I have not been tweeting too much. I did it more aggressively recently. Between work and life, I may not be able to do as much over the next few months. But I said, look, BTC holding 88K fib support for 4 months. We're going to look at that quickly. BTC dominance chart showing bearish divergence. We're going to look at that and see if that's still a thing. And then total T, I meant total 3, okay, which is everything in crypto other than Bitcoin. Back test its all-time high bullish monthly candle. So we're going to look at all those things, right? Those 3 indicators, and again, signals, right? We always look for signals. We've spoken about the signals that we see in a bear market and the signals that we're looking forward to give us an indication of a bear market. But in the current moment, Bitcoin looks bullish. These 3 factors are one of many that tell me that Bitcoin is really trying to find a bottom here. And as it finds a bottom, and as we confirm that we're moving further up, we'll look for those other signals for what is going to be required for alt season. So, I'm bullish. I'm not bearish. You have to look for the signals of what a bearish market can look like. I'm laying this out now before I jump into the charts, because then when you start talking about ridiculous numbers for certain things, people know you're not like some insane person, right? I like painting pictures. So, like I said, this is gonna go for a little bit. It's gonna go for a while now, but I hope in the beginning I painted a picture, and if you're not watching now, you're watching later on. We're gonna jump into now the meat, the juices of talking about certain prices, numbers, ranges. But go back and watch what that intro was of why we think that the end of the market is near, and we'll reflect on that, right? And let's go back to it real quick. We will reflect on that. Let's see here, and this is where we're headed. We will reflect on that, right? The blow off top that's coming, recession, bear market, shrinking economic growth, low market sentiment, job losses, and that outlook for the coming Bitcoin halving, which leads into the bull market. The bottom could start in 2026. It could take 2 years. The bottom, I mean, I'm sorry, the top of the market, if the top of the market is between April of this year and January, Marchish of next year, that's kind of the 2026. And then it could take 2 years for the bottom to round out as Bitcoin gets towards its halving. And then we run into 2030, right, for the end of that bull market. And then now there's a different conversation about a mega bear run, because we're completing a mega cycle. So yeah, if you're still here, thanks for being here. Share this with a friend that you think this could be helpful to them, so maybe they could give me some feedback. Give me some feedback yourself. Put a thumbs up if you like any of this content that we're drawing out here. And with putting this all out there, now we're going to jump into the charts, and take a look at what we see in the charts. Before I do that, I just want to check quickly to see if I've missed anything, and I don't believe I have missed anything. So now we're in the chart. This is the fun part for me, and we are going to guesstimate. We're going to go, look at Bitcoin, the big bad boy, why it's getting near its top. We'll look at S&P 500 quickly, because those are the two, right? S&P 500 and Bitcoin are like the indicators for the stock market and the cryptocurrency market. They move right now in a correlated fashion. You'd be a fool to deny that. And if SPY is going into a bear, Bitcoin is going to a bear, which means the stock market, the currency market, is going into a bear market. So, let's take a look, right? We're short-term bullish. We're looking out for middle to end of this year for signals of bearishness. And we're looking for the reasons, right? We have fundamentally the reasons why we've been bearish. Now we're going to look at the charts to see why we are where we are, and then we're going to look at the possible upside of everything. Okay. Now Bitcoin, yes, Bitcoin is our leading indicator. I don't think there's much upside left on Bitcoin. We don't sit here and let's buy and sell Bitcoin, but it is our leading indicator. We use it for the chart. We've been tracking Bitcoin for a very long time, since this down period, and we've been tracking this entire up period. And we officially entered a bull market when we were able to work our way from this down area back up here and do what? Breakout. So this was the bull market support area for Bitcoin, 37,000 and 46,000. So it was very neat to see that. We were bullish while others were bearish at that time. And we got the movement that we were looking for. We got a really nice looking cup and handle here too. Like, look at this beautiful, beautiful cup and handle. Created a bull flag that then jetted out of there. But if you look at this, what is this? This beautiful cup and handle. And it's a macro cup and handle, right? It took from the bear market of 2021 to then February of 2024 to form. And then after it formed, it took until September of 2024 to then get that handle and the confirmation. And now we are here. Now we are here where those who did not believe are forced to believe, because we have not only surpassed all-time high, but we're looking at a new price discovery. And so to simply put it for Bitcoin, if things were as crazy as they could be, we have an upside of $215,000. But for someone who's a macro investor, for someone who's been able to sit and play within the bears and dollar cost average, this is not where you get cute. This is where you secure profits. So based upon this huge cup and handle, the mathematical upsides of that, the Fibonacci's that we've drawn and traced, 216 is the upside. But if you've been able to stack up your tokens and you're looking to safely dollar cost average out, you're looking at this $143,000 area as your safe upside, max upside for Bitcoin, where if the economic conditions aren't that great, that's kind of where Bitcoin is topping out at after having a tremendous run. And I think the sweet zone, as we've discussed in the Jewelers Discord, shout out to the Jewelers, and shout out to the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem as well. So now that we've had this mega cup and handle, a bull flag, an impulse, and we're looking at a sweet spot for altcoins to kind of do their thing. The ones that already have strength, right? The altcoins that already have strength are gonna do their thing as Bitcoin makes this next impulse into these two fib areas, the 2618 and the 3618, which is between $108,000 and $130,000. I repeat, the altcoins that are already strong, showing strength. XRP falls into the altcoins that are showing strength. XRP currently does not need alt season to do what it needs to do. It shows great strength. XLM showing great strength against Bitcoin. Does not need alt season to do what it needs to do. I would also put AVAX in that category. It had a massive run from $8 to $65 within this period in time of this bull market. I would put Solana definitely in that category, as it has showed strength through this period. And so there are altcoins that are showing great strength. I would put VeChain in that category. Now, VeChain hasn't done anything too miraculous yet, but I believe VeChain is due to show some magnanimous strength. And so to wrap up what we're seeing here with Bitcoin is, as Bitcoin makes its way into this little sweet zone, we're waiting to see, when does this movement happen? Okay. We're looking at what time ranges. We're looking at October 2000. We're looking at April of this year and January of next year to be an indicator of where the top of the market is. So really, time-wise, that is the time, that Bitcoin has to make this move that it's looking to make. And in order for us to then get the signal that that run is coming, we have to leave this consolidation, whatever this consolidation that's happening here, at the $108,000 resistance area. It keeps finding support around this $92,000 area. But really, when you're looking at Fibonacci retracements, which is the mathematical equation geared towards the upside, which just shows it where the exhaustive period would possibly be at the top of that upside. Bitcoin needs to build enough strength to do what? To break out into this 108 area, use it as support, and then make its way, whatever it does, to this upside to bring in that market euphoria, that market confidence, that entering liquidity to then pump not only Bitcoin, but eventually the altcoins as well. And so this in red is the drawn possible path. We had 92 serving as a support area because we are that bullish on Bitcoin. I would not be scared if Bitcoin were to drop to that $88,000 area, because again, after a massive breakout like this, you're gonna get a consolidation. And in order to build real strength, you should not be surprised if price comes back to test possible historical percentage support areas. And so I'm glad to see this 92 serving as a great support. I tend to think that March is going to be a pretty bullish month. I tend to fear what comes in April. I tend to fear what comes in April as we consider some of the things that we're looking to be wary of. And in April, we could be in the place where, again, a lot of things were green for us leaving the 2001 bear market. We're in a neutral area, but we could see the trade war and the tariff drop in April really shock and affect the market. And that could be one of our signals. And there could be an inflation freak out. Okay, there could be an inflation freak out because of the 25% tariffs that are being dropped from this administration. And I want to show something quickly when you look at sentiment. Okay, why is sentiment important? When we look at something like this, the psychology of the market, remember the charts price in the action that's happening in the market, and a huge part of the chart is the psychological portion of things, right? And so the data that matches the price action on the chart is also the data that matches the psychology, of the chart. So we are preparing for this euphoric run here to the top of the market, right? And that's exactly what this chart looks like and indicates here. But you need but other things need to be the narratives that happen within that time. And so without much more said, I hope that came across, but this is the sweet zone for Bitcoin. Okay, we are bullish that Bitcoin is finding a bottom here. We do know that Bitcoin can come back and test this bottom support area, but we love impulse, bull flag, impulse, bull flag, and one more impulse to the top here, which this is the sweet zone, and 130 to 108 is that sweet zone. 143 is where we would say, hey, how much profit have we been able to accumulate during this entire run here? And we will start securing profits based upon those strong altcoin movers as we gear towards the top in between 130,000 and 143,000. This is just a personal plan of mine. And so now, which altcoins are showing strength? And now we're going to start looking at the altcoins that lean into the ecosystems that we are in. Really quickly, I want to let you guys know that I'm still in the kingdom, right? We're looking at Bitcoin. We're looking at we're looking at the altcoins between Ethereum, Solana, and AVAX. We're going to look at AVAX because within the AVAX ecosystem, you have DeFi Kingdoms, and which is a crypto blockchain game. It's an RPG game, and I still think this is one of the best games in the ecosystem. And I'm very excited for what they have coming, which is their tournaments. Okay. They have their tournament coming. Very exciting. So just a little quid tidbit here before we jump back into the charts that very excited for what's going on there, and the PvP that's coming, with $10,000 grand prize at the for the final champion and $75,000 worth of prizes available for those who are coming in. So big shout out to what's happening there. And again, we're gonna that's the top of this market coming. The movement between belief and euphoria that's coming. We're going to end up looking at what is the opportunity for Jewel, the token within DeFi Kingdoms. And starting with this entire story is going to show why there is still amazing opportunity with Jewel and the AVAX ecosystem. So then that leads us to AVAX, where um, things haven't looked pretty, but what is the general thing that we are looking for with AVAX as this blow off top is coming? What do we need to see from AVAX in order to have confidence that it is also one of the things that's going to show strength, right? Some altcoins have shown strength this entire bull run and have not needed alt season, right? Some altcoins have shown strength through this entire bull market and have not needed alt season. Solana has been one of them. And when you talk about what other things can show strength, the AI narrative has been one of them. You have to look at those other things that are in the same category as the main thing showing strength. So if a Solana is showing strength, Solana meme coins have gone ballistic, have gone crazy, then you have to ask yourself, what other layer ones, right? Layer one blockchains have opportunities to also make large movements within this last phase that's coming, this blow off top phase. And we believe AVAX is one of them. What signs did AVAX show as to be one of them? Well, after making a massive run here again in that 2021 bull market area where everything topped out in 2021, and after this massive 90 something correction, AVAX showed us signs by going from $8 to as high as 60, what is this, $65. And that was about a 600% run from the lows. And I think it's even 1,000. So this rule measurer might not be doing it for me. So in that sense, AVAX showed a sign. Since that sign, where are we now? We've had a massive correction to as low as $15. But guess what? That $15 test is great to see, because on the monthly chart, which each candle is a month, the market has quickly brought that back up into where? Backed up into this yellow range area, which is what? Which is the bull market support area for AVAX. It starts at $21, which $21 price is the bull market support number. But remember, things range, and the charts need to close at certain instances to tell you if you are seeing strength or if you're going to see continued strength within the price action of assets. And so that yellow range is 21.35 to 28.41. And so anytime price is able to stay above that bull market number and that bull market range and look to finish the month out at or above $31, right? So if AVAX can close out the month of February above $31 or close above this bull market range here and open the following month, the month of March, above $31 while forming this hammer candle that we're seeing here, we could be due for the next stage of AVAX, which is then what? An impulsive run, matching the possible coming Bitcoin run to its all-time high of $144, but even above that to the $224 safe macro zone that, as someone who has been in AVAX, not financial advice, this would signify a great place to take profit. If price has gone from now $8 at the very bottom to what, to $224, that is a 2,526% move, and that is a macro play where you were able to possibly buy during this downturn and bring your average down between $21 and $13. If you were able to bring your average in here, then all this movement up into that $224 region becomes a 2,520% gain. And if you're able to take anything and make it at least $1,000 gain or more in a macro sense, then guess what? You have succeeded as a macro investor, and that puts you in the range of what you're looking to do as a macro investor. That is successful. That's as successful as you can be. And so if that opportunity was not there for you, then what you need to be preparing for, not financial advice, is how to prepare and take advantage of the new outlook, the new bear market coming, what the thesis behind that, what the plan is behind that, and how you can take advantage of it in a macro, long, drawn out sense. But like I said, going back to the charts, we talked about the economy, we talked about the fundamentals, we talked about where we were coming out of that previous bear market, coming into this bull market, present day. Green, a lot of the green stuff now turning neutral, the neutral now turning red, and how that tsunami of the last bump, euphoria, is coming, and why that makes us need to prepare for the downturn that's coming. And so AVAX is one of those that looks strong and built strength. XRP is one of those that also has built strength, has not needed alt season. We believe XRP goes to $13. If you're a safe macro investor, that's a place and a plan that you're making to take advantage of that and take profit along the way. Can it go higher? It certainly can. XRP can certainly go higher. But when you're playing it safe, this is how we do it. Interestingly enough, AVAX is up 6% on the day while Bitcoin stalls. It's really going to be really interesting to see AVAX on the weekly. If he can maintain this weekly candle right here after this massive correction and try to break out this month, if not next month. The weekly looks decent. The daily is what I really like on AVAX, as we're getting on the RSI, this curvature here. this testing of the 30 RSI and a daily, and then this impulse that we're having here on the AVAX candle. I know ETH Denver is happening. I know AVAX is getting a lot of attention. The AVAX meme coins and also the public launching of those meme coins have been going well, or at least better than it has been in the Solana ecosystem. So things are on the up and up for AVAX. It continues to test this zone here. I mean, look at this beautiful test. Test number 3, breakout, back test number 4, 5, right? Keep testing it. This leads us to that breakout when the market conditions are ready. So we can look at a bunch of other coins, but let's not do that, right? We're going from the order of liquidity. This now then leads us to this game called DeFi Kingdoms, right? And if you've been here this entire time, we are going to wrap this up. We are going to conclude at some point, but now we've come granular. We've come granular to the game that we know here called DeFi Kingdoms. We've been tracking the blockchain gaming space for quite some time. We believe that in this gaming ecosystem, or we believe that gaming is going to be a part of this industry for as long as this industry lives. And in these early days, some are looking to pick their winners and losers now for this bull market, right? And then they may not play those games ever again. And then next run, they're going to try to look and find investment wise for a game just to make profit from. As a macro investor, what I enjoy doing is finding ecosystems that, yes, have opportunity to make profit from in whatever short-term market upside is available. Doesn't matter if you're selling shoes or you're marketing or whatever the case may be. I want something that has great short-term flow with the market opportunities to pop, but I like finding things that are also long-term opportunities there. And I believe DeFi Kingdoms is one of those long-term opportunities. I believe it is an OG game, and it's going to remain an OG game. And this is just a quick look of what the Metis platform looks like, because this is where the tournament is happening. And so I just mentioned all of this because this game has a token, right? And we're here talking about what are the best opportunities for this last leg of the market, right? What are the opportunities for this last leg of the market? Excuse me if I keep sniffling there. Had a little bit of a cold, and I'm just now getting over it, and so there's a little bit of sniffles and sniffing there, but bear with me there. But yes, okay. As this game gets ready to release the tournament, what is the indication of where the end of this market is coming with this blow off top, and what is the opportunity, with this token based upon this ecosystem, right? And I do believe that there is a 20 to 50x opportunity in DeFi Kingdoms in the token jewel with the price being where it is right now. So let's switch over into Dex Screener. Okay, we're going to look at the Jewel token. Big shout out to AVAX and the AVAX ecosystem. Again, these launches, the Wink launch was super successful, unlike Solana. Okay, Big shout out to the fart narrative. Okay, I think the fart narrative is hot. Major corrections are happening right now currently in the fart narrative. But again, that blow off top that's coming, I think the fart narrative is going to do really well. Big shout out to Honk, okay, and the Honk ecosystem. Big shout out again to AVAX, No Chill, Kimbo, TD. They've all been doing tremendous for the AVAX ecosystem and the meme coin vibes in the AVAX ecosystem. So let's take a look at Joel, right? Let's take a look at Joel, okay? And we've been looking at Joel for a very long time. And I have not been. I'm bullish on the game long term, but over the last 2 months, I have not been uh, the most positive on price action because I call it how it is. When Menace was $160 and people were aping into it, obviously there were some incentives to ape into it because of the Torch and the Hercules ecosystem there, which I like that ecosystem. With that going on, I said, oh man, Metis looks like it's topped out, man, at least for now. Like it doesn't, I would not buy it with a 10-foot pole. What I said was I'd be interested in buying Metis at between $60 and $40. And even then, Metis dropped even lower than that, right? So DeFi Kingdoms is the game. We're talking about the gaming space right now. We talked about Bitcoin, altcoins, alt season, what that would consist of on the fundamental part with the Federal Reserve, cutting rates. Quantitative easing is what works for altcoins to have their season, or at least anything to run. But the things that are strong will run, and the things that are weak will need some assistance. So something like Jewel needs some assistance in order to run. Well, what does Jewel need in assistance to run? Well, Jewel needs Metis to actually have sustained, powerful price action. Jewel needs AVAX to have sustained, powerful price action. That is just what it is. That is the deal, right? Jewel needs the Kia, which used to be Clayton, but is now Kia, to have strong, powerful price action. That is what Jewel needs. Jewel needs alt season, right? It just is what it is. And so when you look at, let me share Metis really quickly. When you look at Metis, and we looked at the projection on Metis, and again, this remains, this red line has not changed. We saw Metis ranging between $26 and $45. Based upon this history here, that's where Metis would come and find some sort of support here. It dipped below that, went as low as what looks like $18 to $20. The market brought it back up quickly, and now it's setting some sort of base above $22. Metis needs to now come back into this range, okay, and then use this range to break out. Okay, and then we have $235 as the projected upside of Metis. And so these are the things that Jewel needs. Okay, there's an association there, there's a connection there. The entire tournament system of DeFi Kingdoms is going to live on Metis. So guess what, Metis? You have to start showing strength. And Metis is showing strength on the daily candle. Metis is showing strength. AVAX is showing strength on its daily candle, which then leads to where the month of February closes, where the monthly candle has to finish with some momentum. And not only with some momentum, the following month needs to pick up and give us either a test of this $45 region for Metis or some impulsive breakout of that range, but that is what Jewel needs, right? Now, if Jewel can get that, we already see that this low that Jewel had of about 5 cents, the market has been buying it back up. We said that for Jewel, in order for it to be in a bull market type phase, it needs to show strength above 11 cents. Okay, and so if we think that Bitcoin is going to show strength, which is then going to lead to those who are already showing strength, like your AVAX, like your XRPs, like your SUIs, like your Solanas, to then use push through their last gas. What is then the upside of Jewel, and what signals or indicators are telling us that when Jewel moves, it's going to be powerful as hell? Well, first and foremost, we have what you would call divergence in price action. So even though price is going down, okay, we'll start drawing some measures here. Even though price is going down, what is the strength in the buying behavior of the market? On the monthly, you can't really see anything in terms of strength. So that just shows you that, hey, man, the longer 6 to 9 month outlook doesn't show us any sign of strength. It keeps creating lower lows, right? It's not really showing a strength. So then we go to the weekly chart, where each candle is a week. Where does that divergence look? If we're looking for some sort of positivity, the first positive sign, Bitcoin still looks okay. Okay, Bitcoin still looks okay. Okay, Bitcoin still looks bullish. First positive sign. Second positive sign, AVAX is starting to look like it is bottoming out. It is respecting its ranges. Okay. Third positive sign, we have not had our blow off top, okay, with Bitcoin yet. Jewel is just not one of those things that was already one of those altcoins that were already strong, like your XRPs, that's continuing to show strength, like your Solanas. It needs help. Give him some milk. Okay. Shout out to the chat room. Sergeant Filthy McNasty stopped by to say he missed us. Hope I'm doing good. Appreciate that, Sarge. We in the trenches. We always in the trenches. But life happens. But we love this space, right? We enjoy our time in this space. I believe Sarge is also. Launching another podcast. I believe it's a baseball podcast. So I'm a sports guy as well. So, big shout out to you for that. For releasing a new podcast, right? So you guys go ahead and support Sarge when it comes to that. I'm showing it here really quickly before we hop into what we're going to be needing to see from Jewel. It's called the 3-2 podcast. And in baseball, 3-2 is a very, very intense position where either you're going to get a hit or you're going to get outed. You have to do either or. So shout out to Sarge on that. Good luck with that. I'm a Yankees guy, so if you're digging in on the Yankees conversation, make sure I get in there, right? Shout out to Space Ghost. He says back at it. Yeah, man, we back at it. And let me just use this time to say, I'm really only back to not only document my journal, but I want to put a close to the journal, but I also don't want to have talked about the bull market for all these years and then not say I think the bear market is coming, right? And not lay out how I'm preparing for that. But I may not do many more videos after this, but it's just to leave this here with this encyclopedia of thought processes. And so we're looking at Jewel. The long-term look at Jewel since it popped has not been looking good. Lower lows created, but I mentioned the divergence, right? And a divergence is normally you can have bullish or bearish divergence. The divergence that we are looking for is price action going down, but the market volume buying showing positive price action, right? So when you look at the monthly, we don't see that. When you look at the weekly, you're starting to see signs of that where there's a kind of a base forming, right? There's a base forming here. So if this is the lowest the RSI has ever gone, look at this base that we have here and look at this RSI starting to curve, right? And RSI is relative strength index. It shows the volume and momentum of the buying in the market. In reference to Jewel, you're seeing that it's looking to turn away and uphold those lows. Back in 2023, it came and bounced twice on that low before then making that ginormous 1000% move where it went from 7 cents all the way to a 10x. Actually, no, all the way to a 16x, or just 1000% move, which is up to 78 cents. And so, if we are now in a position where on the weekly, every week is a chat is a every week is a candle, we should be looking for strength on Jewel that builds possibly similar to the past, a rise and a back test, and then escape velocity for Jewel. Again, it's not certain, but we're looking at it. When we look at another indicator, the stochastic RSI, which also shows momentum, right? It's RSI, but it shows a different calculation of momentum. That is also after going to the top here where we got that big magnanimous move. It tried to do it again over here, and the momentum just fizzled out again because Jewel doesn't sustain strong movements of its own. It kind of moves with the market for now. People talk about a lot of what reason that is. The team is selling. Oh, people, we need new people, players. This is just a technical movement of this type of token because it needs the overall market to be bullish or to be moving positively. It needs AVAX. It needs Bitcoin, right? And so we're seeing that start to curve and say, hey, that momentum is coming back on a macro weekly chart. And last time it just hung around until it blasted off. That's what we're watching too. And then another indicator here for Jewel, the MACD. All right, another indicator here that shows momentum change. And we saw here when that big run happened, the MACD opened up and heavy green volume came in. We turned down, and for the first time in years, the MACD. This MACD here is very important. Okay, we see this bear time where it turned bearish. This MACD was so bearish and heavy for so long. It slowly built its way up and just lingered. And for the first time, right, it reset down here, and it didn't really turn out that great. Again, just because the momentum wasn't there. But now that reset is trying for a second time. And now we're getting less heavy red and we're getting lighter reds as that gears up to do what? Finish out this corrective period and turn up for the second time ever in its history. So we have a convolution of momentum within the indicators that's happening as Jewel just did not have enough strength to maintain big moves, big tests of this range here. And if Jewel does not get that, it's just going to continue to do this till it goes to zero. If Jewel doesn't get these turnarounds of the smaller time frames breaking into the bigger time frames, it's just gonna go to zero. But what I'm liking seeing as we're getting ready for this big Bitcoin move, this AVAX move, is that the smaller time frames are now pushing into the bigger time frames. What do I mean by that? Look at the daily showing strength. All right, that bullish divergence here that we talked about, where price was going down and RSI is going up. To when we zoom in here, we see that it is building great strength. And I'm going to stretch this out here so you guys can see, right? Touch the bottom, touch the bottom, touch the bottom, touch the bottom. The daily has finally showed strength and tested 30 RSI for the longest time. That's a positive, bullish, strong show of strength momentum on the daily chart. All these time frames have now reset. We go over to the 3-day chart, which is what I was looking at currently. RSI tested 30 and is now starting to respect the what? Starting to respect that bullish divergence that we're seeing in the larger time frame. The MACD closing that up. The stochastic that was up here came down here is above 30 stochastic RSI. So again, the small time frames are pushing into the bigger time frames. And then we go into the week where we see that starting to change. And so guess what? That may be what leaps and seeps into the month as the monthly stochastic RSI is the last time frame to change. It has not changed yet. And so when we see Jewel falling into this 5-cent region, and it looks like it's created another lower low, we look at other indicators in the market to try to tell us if this bigger time frame on the month has an opportunity to change. And in my guesstimation, the answer is yes. And so if this monthly candle can at least finish the month of February above, okay, this red line, which is above the previous low, that's the first signal that we need to see for Jewel. Close above 7 cents for the month of February. Open the month of March above this previous low. Make your way to test the 9-cent region, but really we're making our way to test this macro low here the first time when Jewel went bearish. And if we can get a movement, something of this nature, where it's able to close above here, open up the month of March, make its way here, test this 11-cent region, come back down and test this either 9-cent region or the 7-cent region, take a lift off. Once it takes a lift off from there, it needs to then create some positive price action above this 11-cent region. This green area is the bull market support and resistance area, where multiple battles have happened here and it has failed. But if it's able to break out of this first resistance area, this diagonal action right here, boom, that is a first signal that we're looking for. Can we go ahead and put a number 1 in this area? Yes, we can. Again, we are not Houdini. We cannot tell the future, but we look for certain things. Okay, number 1. Number 2 thing we need to see is what? This range that's become difficult, we need to see it create strength and break out of this range. This can determine its bull market run. That is between 16 cents, 15 cents, 15.70, and 29 cents. Again, when this is happening, that's not when you start planning things out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This, you don't start planning things out when it's already happening. You plan prior. So this is number two. It needs to make its way out of here. Okay, but it needs to test this area. Okay, sure. What is the next thing? Once it breaks into this range here and gets ready for the test of this here, it needs to turn 11 cents into support. So we need to see something like this where it comes back to test it and breaks out. So guess what? The breakout of the previous bear market area is number three. Again, we're not Houdini, but we look for certain signals. While this is happening, I'm like, okay, it's really happening. It's really happening. It's really happening. All right, slow down, prepare. How many Jewel tokens do you have? Where is Bitcoin? Where is AVAX? Where is Metis? What are their price actions looking like? How many are we selling? Not buying, because we have already accumulated. How many are we selling at which marker? And we'll talk about that. So we need to see that then break out. We then need to see the top of this area at least while it makes its way to test this 74-cent region. We have to make sure that at least the top of this area also also becomes strength, not resistance, right? So while all this is happening, and again, Jewel has shown a history of doing this stuff impulsive really fast. Take some time to build the structure, the impulse really fast. And so while we're watching this, we need to then turn this bull market support area into exactly what we needed, support. So when it comes to test the 74-cent region, it's probably going to come back and test this region to create some sort of structure for a breakout, right? And so while it's doing that, we need to then have this be a test region, right? We need a breakout from here. And so we already spoke about testing it, which is two. We spoke about this 11-cent region holding, which is three, but we then need to confirm Jewel entering its parabolic phase by testing that bull market support area, and that becomes number four. Now, number four is really important because this is when we prepare for others to flow in. This is when we prepare for the rest of the market to start having some confidence. This is where ASEM is probably going to be tweeting at least twice a week about Jewel. If we get through all this, this is where it starts to become fun, right? And when we get here, I have said $1.26 is worst case scenario. By the time we get there, we have gotten through every possible psychological battle you can go through. And so now that we're here, from the lows here, from the lows of 5 cents, which I tweeted that at that point, I'm buying Jewel. I started accumulating Jewel as it was going down here because of the understanding of where Bitcoin is, where the markets are, that blow off top that's coming, you know, the scariness of the possible bear market that's coming, but understand Bitcoin has upside, right? And so we told all those stories in the beginning about, is this the end? We know the end is coming. Okay, but we also know Jewel, when it moves and it makes its movements fast. This 1,000% run that it did, the green candles was just 1, 2, 3 months. 1, 2, 3 months he took, boom, and then 1 month to make the biggest part of the move. But there was some preparation that was happening prior to, and that preparation from these lows here took about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Took 16 months. Even so, this down period, Jewel has been in it for over 976 days. Okay, we've been in the trenches. But when it moves, the positive price action happens quickly. Jewel has shown That's the history. The last time it ran almost 46,000%. And let me make sure I got this right. It happened, yeah, 31,000%. It took 5 months, just 5 months to run 30,000%. That is the history of Jewel at this moment because it doesn't have years of stability under it. XRP does, but Jewel hasn't had years of stability. Bitcoin is now starting to have some stability, but Bitcoin in the early days was very volatile. So from this 5 cent region to that 126, where then that's the time the rest of the market will start to build confidence. Okay, that is a 2,400% run. Already a 20x would have happened at that moment. Already a 20x would have happened at that moment. And so if you are a macro investor, by that time, you've probably gotten your money back plus more. Plus more. If you were confident enough to get in, look at your patterns, wait for this, wait for that. By $1.26, 20x, opportunities are already there. Right? I think safest scenario, that's what we can be looking at as the things that we spoke about earlier in the stream happen in the markets. From there, then things can get really interesting and really crazy. And so if this monthly, right, stochastic is able to turn around, it has quite some room to run, right? History shows that stochastic has gone as high as 70. Right now, it sits at 9, literally, right? And so $5.58 is, for me, absolute euphoria. $5.58 for me, for Jewel, is euphoria, right? I think for Jewel, we're not even at belief, right? So do I think that the safe upside is $1.26? Yes. I think that's where people believe, wink, wink. And then when you get to that euphoria, which could be that $5.58, if the market conditions are right, that to me is what things could be looking like for Jewel. So that 162 area then becomes what? That becomes, if you're a macro investor and you bought the fear, that becomes, it could be the end for you. You can walk away and you could just be like, hey, it's done, ROI, whatever. But this $5.56 area is what you would call life changing. Life changing. If you are accumulating at all in any of the previous numbered regions that we were talking about, any of the other previous numbered regions that we were talking about, then 6 right here becomes life changing at $5, okay, and 58 cents from the current region that we are in. And so that is the synopsis for Jewel, for the upside, the potential, the different patterns that we're looking for, the fact that the overall chart looks bearish to some, and it is bearish, but when you're looking for reversals, it's not that easy to have the confidence in the reversals. Not a lot of people had confidence in XRP when it was hanging in this region, in this downturn. But guess what? When you're planning for the macro future, all this time you see that the strength was building above 36. That was the base, and that the bull market would be confirmed if it's able to break out of this 85-cent region and break into and above this all-time high bars here. And so life-changing things happen. Okay. Oh, let me show you this here. Life-changing things happen when you're able to get in, look for reversals and understand. And at the current moment, Jewel, okay, smaller time frames are pushing into the larger time frames, and we know what we need to see. These are the 6 steps. Okay, these are the 6 steps of becoming a Hokage. And I wanted to leave you guys with this in understanding that I believe that the bear market is coming. Okay, I believe it's closer than we think. I believe that we're in that belief area and go into the euphoria area. I believe that all season will happen, but it will not happen for the mass alt season will not happen until the mass all season will not happen until the Fed starts to ease, and the Fed was only going to start cutting rates if some sort of shakeup happens in the markets. Within that time phrase, I believe Bitcoin reaches that 143 marker, or at least the sweet zone is 108,000 to 130. I believe S&P 500 also does another 5 to 6%. But great resistances in that area. And I believe as Bitcoin tops out and that first major correction happens, altcoin will have their time to run. And so that is the entire synopsis. I'm kind of I'm happy to see AVAX running at the current moment. As the stock market is closed, AVAX looks great to stay in this range and make its way out as its range as its daily works into its weekly. I like what I'm seeing from the markets. We may still have some volatility, but I think March is going to be a great time in the markets. And then April, as the tariffs drop from the Trump administration, as as what else? As the tariffs drop, as the inflation panic happens, as we get ready to enter a recession, the shrinking of the government is happening, the clearing of waste is happening, which I think is a good thing. But that's also going to have an effect on GDP and what the economic outlook, on the economy is. And so that's the major pitch right there, right? That's the major pitch. What happens is that we're looking to take profit from this big run. Prepare for the bear market. If you have capital at hand, you can prepare for the bear market, and you can even short the bear market. You can even short the bear market in a macro way, not a short term way, a macro way, and you can be in a great position to take advantage of the next bull market that's coming. We've spoken about what has happened, and that led us into a lot of green positive. We spoke about where we are now, and that's kind of in a neutral sense where you have some decent news, some bad news, and then we spoke about where we are headed, which we do have some green ahead of us, a blow off top, but we have this on the back end. We're looking at the month of April of this year to January of next year to give us signals, whether they're technical, whether they're fundamental, whether they're global political. All these signs should come together, whether they're economic, financial. All these will come together to give us the sign of when that bear market is coming. And depending on where our alts that have built strength have moved to, it's time to then take profit to prepare for that bear market to take advantage of it how we can. I hope you felt like I was telling you a story. I hope you felt that with that story, there's some sort of like ending to the story, but because we have things that we are looking forward to, there will be a continuation, of this story. And this is not financial advice. I continue to say this is my public journal, but I like sharing this because as someone who feels like I'm prepared and I have a plan in place and I'm looking to secure my future, my public journal is also shared for those out there who are also trying to find their way and are not only partaking in the stock market, but are partaking in this crazy, this crazy cryptocurrency market, that we live in. And I do think that there's a way to make it through investing, through thinking long term, and not thinking like this guy Jaden, who is sniping meme coins and talking about he controls the president of Argentina and then losing people loads of of money. So we're gonna continue to watch. Like I said, I won't be streaming as much as I do. So these big brain, big picture, massive streams are what I'm going to do. And so as Bitcoin makes that impulse that we're looking for, we'll look to verify that. And you guys can follow me in a few places that since I'm not going to be streaming. You can follow me on Twitter. Okay, so it's at the Trade Room, the 2 numerical zeros at the end of room, or you will not find me. The same thing for YouTube, the Trade Room together with 2 zeros, numerical zeros for the room. I put my thoughts out there. As you guys I said I'm bullish recently on the AVAX ecosystem. Okay, and what's going on with layer ones and meme coins. I'm bullish on the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. I actually landed some loot recently. I'm gonna, play some hunts today and go for it. I'm bullish on Bitcoin and a test of that 99 $1,000 region to then be a signal of where liftoff is. And I'll continue to drop at least 1 or 2 videos as we track this top of the market that's coming and look to take advantage of this bottom in action. Thank you guys for being here. If you've been here this long, I appreciate you. I hope you got something from this. Send me some feedback of what you guys think of my thoughts here, my journal, and my personal journey here. And share this with a friend. Put a thumbs up, like, subscribe. I'm on my YouTube or my Twitter. If you want to see me keep up with the rest of what's going on in the market. So bullish, all right, waiting on signals and gonna continue to do this thing called macro investing because it's just generally fun. All right, so guys, thank you for being here. We will catch you on the flip side.